There are two main things that determine how poor you will be. The first one is how you make money, and the second one is how you manage the money that you make. This is a very serious matter, especially the management of the money that you make. It can be the difference between somebody who earns 300 cedis a month that can make that person richer than somebody who is earning 1,000 cedis a month, all because of how the money is managed. So today we are going to talk about the management of money. The 7 things that you should do immediately you get your salary. Stay tuned to the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, so anytime we release new content, you'll be one of the first people to watch it. Alright, so welcome back to Daily News Hive. This is your show, your host Joshua, where we talk about how to manage your money, how to invest your money, and other entertainment stuff. Here we educate, we entertain, and we enjoy ourselves. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, so that whenever we release new content, you're one of the first people to receive it. So today we are going to talk about 7 things you should do immediately you receive your salary. Immediately you receive your salary, do these 7 things. Money is very important to our survival. It controls the school your children will go to, it controls the food you eat, it controls the kind of life you live, it controls where you sleep, it controls a lot of things. But many people think that the main thing about money alone is about how much you make. Yes, how much you make is important, but also important is how you manage what you make. Anybody who is able to manage what they make, whether being little or being much, will go far ahead than somebody who even makes 10 times more than them, who does not manage the amount. I mean, we've all heard about rich footballers, basketball players, who have all become poor after, just because they didn't manage the amount of money they were making. Alright, so let's dive straight into the video. The first thing you should do when you receive your salary is to deposit the money into a current account or a checking account. Why should you deposit the money into a current account? Now, most of the times when you are paid your salary, the government takes their tax, that's their payouts, you earn tax. Now, with the remainder that is left, if you do keep that cash on you, you are more tempted to spend the money. Now, if that money is in a current account or a savings account in a bank, you can automate a lot of processes. So then you can automate your savings, because you know that the money is not directly in your pocket, you will not spend it much. Because most people don't have that self-control and self-discipline. Maybe they can go out, if there's money in your pocket, they will buy what they see. But if that money is not directly in your hands and is somewhere in a bank account, you are able to control the amount of money that you spend. It gives you the time to plan your expenses well for the month, to plan a lot of things so that you don't spend and you don't buy impulsively. The second advantage is that you can automate your savings and automate your investments. So you can go to the banks and tell the banks that if every month they should take a percentage of your income directly from your bank into your savings account. That way you don't even have to worry about moving from taking one bank, going to your bank, then taking it to another savings account, to a checking account, and to an investment account. Just go to your main bank where those two, then you just automate a direct debit account. You just do a direct debit onto all these, direct debit onto your savings, direct debit onto your investments, direct debit into your emergency fund and any other account that you need to. Now, this brings me right to the second point. They should have an emergency fund. This is very important. What's an emergency fund? An emergency fund is money that you can access in case of an emergency. So what's the emergency? For example, maybe if you are using a laptop to work and your laptop breaks down, and maybe the laptop you need to work is a lot of money. That's an emergency, something that you didn't plan for, unforeseen circumstances which are very costly. You don't want to be now thinking about how you are going to take care of emergencies. Now I have a question for you guys. Give me your answers in the comment section. If right now you needed to raise $50 for an emergency, would you be able to do it? $50 as at the time I'm recording a video today is about 307 Ghana cedis. If you had an emergency which was about 307 Ghana cedis today, would you be able to raise it? If you will not be able to raise it, it means that you are not actively saving into an emergency fund account. So how the emergency funds accounts work? They are not any special accounts. Or you must know that you just go to a bank, tell them you want to open a savings account. But you have to make sure that the account they are giving you, the interest rate is more than the inflation rate that year in your country. Otherwise, you're going to lose money as a result of inflation. So what you do is that you basically go to the bank, open a savings account. When you open that savings account, right, then you go to your first bank where your current where your salary goes to, then you do a direct debit. So every month you can decide, okay, 50 cedis or 100 cedis, I'll save that into my emergency fund. That way you don't have to worry about emergencies if they arise. And that money, you never touch it. That money is not your savings. That money is your emergency fund account. It's very different. You only touch it when you need to. Very, very important. Now the third thing. This third thing is when you look at your expenses. Somebody may ask that, why did I bring expenses to the third point instead of the second point? So there is a saying that pay yourself first. What does that mean? So what that means is that when you go out and you buy food, maybe you buy your favorite watch, you buy your favorite rice, you are paying the rice seller, you are paying the watch seller. When you take transportation, you are paying the driver. But when do you pay yourself? You pay yourself when you save or when you invest your money. So that is why you have to think about creating an emergency fund before you look at your savings. And your emergency fund is not all your salary going into it. Just take a little of it, 50 cedis, 60 cedis, 100 cedis. If you are listening to me outside the country, you can take the equivalent of your currency. So take $100, whatever currency, and just take that, then save it. Every single month, 50 cedis, 20 cedis, if it's even 10 cedis you can do, just put it there regularly. 10 cedis invested over time is going to be a lot of money. Now let's go back to the point I was making. So I was talking about paying your expenses. Now the expenses, you have to divide your expenses between wants and also between needs. Now, getting the latest phone is not a want, it's a need. Having a phone to use right now, depending on what you're using, can be a need. But having the latest phone may not be a need, depending on the work you are doing. You know yourself better, you know what you need and you know what you want. So you are able to determine which is your need and which is your want. In order to understand this thing well, you have to look at your life as if your life is a business. If your life is a business, if you start thinking as if your life is a business, there are some things that you will not do. You have to manage your life well as if you are managing a business. Then you begin to understand some of these things that I'm talking about. It takes a mindset shift to do this, but if you're able to do this thing I'm talking about in your 20s, it will set you up in your 30s for financial success. So let's go to the fourth point. Now, pay your debts. What are debts? Now, some people have car debts, some people have student loans, some people have car loans, I mentioned already, and some people have personal loans. Whatever loans that you have to have a plan of paying them. Why is this important? Depending on who you took the loan from, if you took it from a savings and loan company, you took it from a bank, or if you're a government worker, you can take a loan from a lot of these agencies that they'll be chasing you to take their loans, or they always send you messages to take their loans. When you take their loans, some of them have very high interest rates. A high interest rate can be classified as any interest rate above 6%. So if you don't pay your loans, with some people, their money is deducted directly from their salary, so they don't even have the option of deciding whether to pay their loans or not. But if you have taken a loan from a place that is not deducted directly from your salary, then you have the option of payment. Then you can look at these two methods. The first one is you can use the snowball method, the debt snowball method, and you can use the debt and avalanche method. Now with the debt snowball method, let me give you an example. If you have maybe three types of loans you have taken. Let's say you've taken a personal loan of 100 cedis, you've taken a car loan of 1,000 cedis, and you've taken what's an example? Let's use student loan of 2,000 cedis. With the debt snowball method, you start with the least amount of money you're supposed to pay. So it means that you pay your personal loan, which is the 100 cedis first, then you pay the 1,000 cedis loan, which is the car loan. Then before you pay your student loan, which is the 2,000, Why do you do that? The whole point is that when you are able to pay the least amount first, it encourages you that, yeah, I'm making progress in my life. Like, I'm doing something, I'm making progress. So it motivates you to keep on paying the debt. Why should you pay your debt? You pay your debt first. For example, if let's say you have taken a loan, and then every month you keep maybe about 500 or to 700 cedis is deducted from your account every month to pay the loan, then you clear the debt. It means that immediately that money that you were giving out to pay the loan becomes yours. That means immediately you have gained money. Just immediately you have gained money by clearing that loan. Now let's look at the second method, which is the debt avalanche method. Now with the debt avalanche method, you look at all the loans that you are owing, then you pay the one with the highest interest rate first. Why do you pay that one first? You pay it first because when you pay the one with the highest interest rate first, it makes mathematical sense. Why does it make mathematical sense? Because then you clear the one that will cost you more if you don't pay. So for example, if you've taken a loan that every month you pay 5% interest on, then you have another loan that every month you pay 1% interest on. It means that the loan that you're taking the 5% interest on is costing you more over time if you don't finish paying that money. So whenever you're going to take a loan, make sure you check the interest rate very well, because the interest rates can be a killer. You can end up paying about 2 to 3 times the amount of money you have originally borrowed because of the interest rate. And the longer you take to pay the loan, the more you pay in terms of interest rates, and the money keeps on compounding. So basically it's like the investment, it's like having a negative investment in your favor. The compound interest that would have worked in your favor if you had invested the money. Interest rate payments for the loan, you rather be deducting the money from your accounts every month. Let's go to the next one, savings. Why savings? Now, emergency fund is not your savings account. Savings should be separate from your emergency fund. Why do we save? We save because of unforeseen circumstances. COVID-19 was unforeseen. Nobody expected that there's going to be a huge pandemic, then a lot of people will lose their jobs. So many people lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic, and some have not even gotten their jobs back, especially in Ghana right now. Some people have not gotten their jobs back. Some people were laid off. Some people's lives just changed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you didn't have any money saved and you lost your job during the COVID-19 pandemic, you'd be very hot. Now imagine, let's take 2 people, Kofi and Amma. Kofi didn't save anything, he was always spending his money. Amma was always saving. She had about 3 to 5 months of her salary saved. When the pandemic hit, yes, they both lost their jobs, but Amma is more comfortable than Kofi just because she has money saved in. It gives you a peace of mind that you can relax and know that, okay, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear, or about how I'm going to move from place to place. That's the advantage that savings gives you. So with the savings also, what you can do is that you can create a separate savings account. Now, some people don't have bank accounts. I wouldn't advise this anyway, but you can look at getting a susu box, put some coins in it. Any coins that's around, just put them in it, put some 1 cedis, 2 cedis, 3 cedis. You'll be surprised about how big that money will become over some time. You will not see it because it's just little money. But at the end of the year, 12 months, that huge amount of money is going to make a big difference. Or go to a bank. When you go to a bank, you can open an account, a savings account with them. Make sure that the savings accounts the banks are giving you, the interest rates should be more than the inflation rates in that year. Otherwise, your money will be instantly devalued. That is why I was saying that I don't recommend using a susu box, just because of the devaluing of the money by inflation. What is inflation? Basically, inflation means that, it's a very basic definition of inflation. What it means is that if today you were able to buy KK, that is 1 cedi, then the inflation goes up, that same KK means you are using 2 cedis now to buy it. What does that mean? It means that what 1 cedi could do maybe 2 months ago, now you need 2 cedis to do what 1 cedi could do. Yeah, that's just basically what inflation is. So it means that if your savings rate is not higher than the inflation, you have just lost money automatically just because of inflation. The 10 cedis that you have right now, it's not the same 10 cedis that was there last year. Last year's 10 cedis, last 2 years 10 cedis, last 3 years 10 cedis is worth more than this year's 10 cedis because of inflation rates. Let's go to the next point. Now we look at investments. After you have saved your money, you have had your emergency fund, you have done all those things. Now look at investment. So what is investment? Investment basically is that savings is not going to make you rich. Investment means making your money work for you. There are many ways that you can invest. I'm not an investment advisor, so I will recommend that you speak to an investment advisor before you decide on which way to invest your money. Basically, there are many types of investments you can do. You can invest into real estate, you can invest into a business, you can invest into buying government bonds, you can invest into there are so many ways you can invest. You can invest into all these things I've spoken about. You can even invest into cryptocurrency. I mean, you can invest into money markets such as mutual funds and all those things. But they sound very complicated to anybody who doesn't have any idea about it. The first rule in investment, that you should invest in what you know about. Warren Buffett said he has 2 rules when it comes to investment. First, number 1 is never lose money. And number 2 is never forget rule number 1. Basically, never lose your money. Make sure that you are investing into something that you understand. So if you're a beginner, I'm going to do more videos on how you can invest money. But if you're a beginner, total beginner, you never invested in before, I would advise that you don't go for a very complicated investment. Start with something simple. Start with mutual funds. Start with treasury bills. Those ones you can just walk to a bank and tell them that you want to buy your treasury bills. You want to buy mutual funds. For the mutual funds, you have to go to an investment bank. There are many. All the banks in Ghana, we have investment banks and we have commercial banks. If you go to the investment banks, they should be able to help you. Data Bank is one. They have mutual funds there. EcoBank too has its own form of mutual funds. There are a lot of mutual funds there. So just walk into any of these guys, ask them. Make sure you ask a lot of questions. Let them explain to you very well. Because the most important thing in investment is the knowledge. Once you gain the knowledge, you can move from one step to another step to another step. But like I said, I'm going to create a video going more into details about how these investments work and how you can take advantage of them. Now, after you have done these investments, I mean, like I said, with these investments, you also don't need huge amount of money to start it. You can start with 20 cedis, you can start with 30 cedis, and you'll be doing it consistently every month. Or you can start with more if you can afford to start with more. Just one matters is that every single month you consistently put something away. If you do that over time, the power of compound interest will going to end up multiplying that money over time, and you're going to be amazed about how that little money became something huge just because you started doing it. It's never too late to start, no matter how old you are. It's never too late to start, so don't give up. Now, the last point is, after you have invested, after you have saved, you have to start thinking about how you can double your income. I did a video about it, I think some weeks ago. I'll leave the link in the description about 5 businesses you can start with no money. You can watch that video to give an idea about some things that you need to do. Then about how to do. So what it means is that basically, when you get the money, you save it, you invest it, you keep an emergency fund. This is the basic principles that you should live by. As soon as you get your salary, you save some, you put some in an investment account, then you invest, you save some, you create an emergency fund, you invest it, you plan your budget, you do a budget. That means you plan your needs, your wants, and it will be very simple for you. If you do this consistently over 1 year, you'll be surprised. Like I said, these kind of things, it's not a get rich quick scheme where I'll say, okay, put 200 cedis here, then it will become 1,000 cedis. No, it's not a get rich quick scheme, but this is a simple formula, a method that if you follow consistently over time, you are going to make a lot of money, and you are going to learn the money management skills that you need to succeed in this life. So this brings me to the end of the video. I hope you guys learned something new. Today we spoke about 7 things you should do immediately you get your salary. Thank you for watching. Like the video. It will make a big deal to me, or it will really mean a lot to me if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you guys next time.